it was announced, Mike Tenay in the ring. He stood in the ring on the first Impact of the month on October 1st. He made 2 announcements. He announced that Victory Road will take place in Orlando. Big pop, to be fair.
Pulled a great face.
He did pull up a great face, and the crowd, to be fair, did go pretty nuts.
They're very happy to see it.
Announced it will be a big interactive weekend with a fan fest and whatnot. And then he also announced that Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, would return to TNA on Impact next week.
And I audibly gulped.
Piper, who is known for some of the worst segments in TNA history, is back and doing it again.
Sure is. He didn't bring up healthcare this time, though.
So October 8th, Piper comes to the ring. He says he's back because he's a wrestling fan. He pays tribute to the Big Boss Man who died a couple weeks beforehand. Then ran down his credentials about everything he's done. Now he's like, he's free and nobody will tell him what to do.
Yep.
He talks about how he will host a special edition of In the Pit with Roddy Piper, not to be mistaken with his other show, Piper's Pit. Completely different. This is In the Pit with Roddy Piper.
Yeah, different. This one's the more popular one.
Totally different format. He'll have a special mystery guest, and he'll ask whatever he wants to ask, and drops the classic, you do not throw rocks at a guy who's got a machine gun line.
Well, let's talk about all the stuff he talked about.
So, for the rest of the show, up until Victory Road, there's a lot of Roddy Piper segments.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go on to those, when Roddy Piper mentioned that Big Boss Man saved his life once, he was referring to a time when he and Kerry Von Erich were high on drugs and standing on the ledge of a building where if either of them had taken one wrong step, they would have fallen to their deaths. So they're apparently so out of it, they were oblivious to the danger, and Boss Man literally grabbed them and brought them to a safe place.
Look forward to that scene in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Who's going to play Roddy Piper?
That's the question, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be the GFW dude. It's going to be Brett Grantstaff.
It probably should be.
So in the build up to In the Pit with Roddy Piper at Victory Road, we had a bunch of Roddy Piper reminiscing segments.
Let me tell you right now, never watch any of these segments on 2 times speed.
Oh, those would give you a fucking seizure.
It is hell.
They're weirdly edited like YouTube videos from like 2015.
Yeah.
So that like whenever Roddy Piper would say like the word coconut or banana, they would cut to a stock photo of coconuts and bananas.
Yeah. He was doing a video essay.
And it's like hectic. It's hectically edited. He talks about how he was a shooter and nobody wanted to go on his show. He talks about the Snuka one. He goes through like the entire Snuka angle and how that was super famous. He then did the like Vox Pop one. So yeah, there's a bunch of reminiscing about Roddy Piper and In the Pit with Roddy Piper, again, completely separate from Piper's Pit. Which leads us to the pay-per-view, Liam.
Yes.
In which Roddy Piper hosts his edition of In the Pit with Roddy Piper, and his special surprise guest is Jimmy Snuka.
Which is cool because like on the lead up to this, he was really racist to Jimmy Snuka.
Well, that's the whole shtick, that you know, the whole hitting him with the coconut was racist and inappropriate.
Yeah, but like then when he said more racist stuff in the build-up, he didn't apologize for that.
Maybe that's what made him think about it. Maybe he didn't have the mystery guest locked in until they started reminiscing. And then he's like...
And he's like, man, on Impact, I called you some bad things.
I've got to make amends for my wrongdoings. So he invites Snuka out. Piper does the entire spiel about how, you know, you and I made magic in history together, but I was wrong. I should have never hit you with the coconut. It was inappropriate, and I want you to even the score. Hands Snuka a coconut and says, hit me. He turns his back on him and is like, hit me.
He doesn't hit him.
He doesn't hit him. He shows restraint. Kid Cash interrupts. It does his old running down the legend shtick. Calls... Because Piper said something to the extent of, like, Snuka was X Division before there was X Division. Kid Cash was like, fuck that! I'm the real X Division guy.
True.
Cash and Shazarian, for some reason, attacked Jimmy Snuka. Sanjay made the save, but then Cash dropped Sanjay with a coconut, and Shazarian were like, what the hell, man? While Cash was like, hey, look what I did, I hit him with a coconut.
And then, like, when the other bad guys were like, you took it too far, he's like, well, it was already in there, it wasn't my fault.
It's like, I didn't bring the coconut to the ring, I just used it.
Yeah, this segment sucks because Jimmy Snuka is in it.
That's a fair assessment.
But yeah, fuck off, I don't care.
That is also a fair assessment. Like, to put yourself in the 04 shoes, how much do people care about seeing Piper and Snuka in a ring again together? I don't know. Like, it was the most pushed episode of Piper's Pit. Like, Mike Tenay was shouting about how like it was their most famous episode. They wrestled a bunch afterward. It's the defining Piper's Pit episode. So I guess it felt meaningful at the time. I don't know. I was 12. I can't. You were what, like 5?
When was it?
04. You were 6, 7. Yeah, you were 7, I was 12. We are not the fair assessors of whether or not people were interested in this Roddy Piper Jimmy Snuka angle in 2004, but I guess it was a thing that happened.
Yeah, when I was 7, I was like, actually, he's a murderer, so...
You were a very annoying 7-year-old.
Yeah, and then I said allegedly after that, too. Although I think he was persecuted and then died.